play a lot of gacha games, so I thought that maybe it would be a good idea to make a video where I talk about some of my hot takes or maybe cold takes I have about them. We're going to do a rotation between Genshin, Fire Emblem Heroes, Fate Grand Order, Honkai Impact 3rd, and Honkai Star Rail. We'll start with Genshin. I can mention all the quality of life stuff that Star Rail has that Genshin doesn't, but why don't I do something else? I actually think one of Genshin's problems is that they don't have enough variety in play styles. So when I play Genshin, usually I feel like most characters kind of play similarly enough and that you're just supposed to do one rotation over and over again with a certain specific team. I think a part of that gameplay style just doesn't appeal to everyone. I liked it a lot when I played, but I know my friends really didn't like it. I feel like what made me realize this was actually Honkai Impact 3rd, because I felt that with certain characters, I think it's her sort of flame style, and her play style as a whole was something that I thought was very unique and very enjoyable, but I feel like with Genshin, they either are taking it very slowly with new ideas or they're just not giving enough of them. I feel like characters who do play differently tend to actually be on the weaker side, if not being actually bad, but even if they're not the actual worst, they tend to just be weaker on average than characters who just generically provide some strength. What I mean by this is, for example, a character like Dehya might have a unique kind of mechanic, but it doesn't really work nearly as well as any other character out there. This isn't always to say that unique characters will play worse than others, because I think a character like Hu Tao actually does play rather unique. Hu Tao is, I think, more of an exception than the rule, whereas I think that characters who tend to be more unique tend to just not be as good on average. I know a lot of Genshin theory crafters and other content creators have specific terms for how a DPS plays. So you have stuff like drivers, you have characters like Scaramouche, who are hyper carries. For example, hyper carries I feel like hyper carries as a class is by average just weaker than the others, because it doesn't really rely as heavily on doing quick rotations, which is where it seems like Genshin characters are their strongest. I think this is also expounded by the fact that Genshin has literally no balance. Other games out there like Apex do have balance, but Genshin doesn't really. I'd say that most of Genshin's balancing is done by giving a character a certain perk at C6, or having an artifact set that was specifically made for a character, or creating a new element entirely, which they've done once, but yeah. I feel like most of the times you're incentivized to really only use meta characters, since it's more fun that way to just be able to not rely on the hope that a C6 character or an artifact set will carry the team entirely. Maybe it's a bit of an odd take, but I also think that's partly because of the fact that Spiral Blitz is just annoying if you're playing as off-meta characters from my experience, but that's a me thing. Maybe you love doing that. I would not want to sit through playing Dehya and Spiral Abyss. Another hot take is that Geo as an element needs to be balanced better. I mean, I don't even think this is a hot take. This is probably a freezing take. For a basically reactionless element, it performs very poorly, and I feel like it should be scaled up more, just because it is effectively a reactionless element. I also think that I'm just tired of characters. I mentioned before C6 characters. I'm just tired of characters like Goro, Firezan, and Kujo. All these characters want you to have them at C6, and honestly, it just feels annoying because there are other characters before that were released that it didn't really matter if they were at C6 or C1. Mainly Bennett. A character like Bennett does not really need almost any investment, but I'm supposed to somehow get a C6 Faruzan who has no guarantee or pity on her banner for 4 stars, so I just have to get lucky and get 7 of her, which, by the way, is a lot more necessary than most other characters, but still it's annoying because Faruzan's energy requirements without C6 are horrifying. Some of them are pretty decent at C0, I know Goro I think is supposed to be pretty decent at C0, but other characters like Faruzan and I think even Kujo are just outright bad at C0. And I feel like those characters are like, in general, I feel like characters like Kujo and Farazan also just kind of act like band-aids for other characters more than amplifiers of them. I don't think Kujo fits that entirely, mainly because Kujo kind of just gives you big damage in like a couple of seconds. But a character like Farazan kind of matters a lot for characters like Scaramouche, and I feel like without Farazan, Scaramouche probably would perform just flat out worse, which I think is kind of annoying. Please stop releasing band-aid characters. Just make good characters, and characters who make good characters better. Now, I'm not super big into Fire Emblem Heroes. I love Fire Emblem, but Fire Emblem Heroes has never completely been my thing. But I just have one really big complaint. Can they please stop making you choose orb colors? I really hate this weird illusion of choice that I have when I click roll. Like, I want a character like, I don't know, Byleth, or Chrom, or maybe I want the new Tiki. But if I click roll and the color orb that I want isn't there and it doesn't match it, I just have no chance of getting the character at all. It feels like I have to double pass the gacha check to actually get the characters I want. This is especially annoying if I get a 5-star who I didn't even want. Like, I could want a gray unit, and there'll be no gray, and then I roll instead for a red unit, and then I get a 5-star, like, I don't know, Reinhardt. I don't even know if Reinhardt is a red unit. It just feels like shit. Again, this isn't really a hot take, but Fate Grand Order just needs an entire graphical rehaul, or like a shift of some sort. I think that it'd be golden if it just rehauled itself. Maybe they could change the gameplay. I've heard arcade is very fun, and it just looks more appealing. Like the arcade version looks more appealing than the regular version. But if they did want to keep it turn-based, then I think maybe making it more like Star Rail, or even an Octopath Traveler with its weird, unique, like 2.5 HD system. I think that will go a long way. I actually think that Octopath Traveler's kind of style would lend itself really well to Fate, especially with how pretty it looks. Kind of actually had that idea because there's some videos of Pokemon in Octopath's style, and I feel like Fate Grand Order actually could look really good if it did try to put itself into that style. Also, Fate Grand Order just needs to give more animation updates. Seriously speaking, I don't understand how Matahari still shoots orbs. Like, literally all of her attacks are orbs. She is an assassin. She's supposed to be like a seductress. Make her do something that isn't just orbs. I don't remember any seductress in history shooting orbs at people. Here's a bit of a positive take, a rare positive hot take, but I think Fate actually has one of the best balances out of gacha games. I can't really compare Star Rail because it's too new, but at least comparatively to other games that I'm talking about in this video, I think that Fate Grand Order's characters are just pretty well balanced, all things considered. I think this is mainly because of the fact that the game has interludes and rank ups, which both are basically the same thing, just giving characters strength buffs in some way, either improving a skill or their multipliers or anything really. I think that these remedy most of Fate's balance problems, and I know that there's some here or there that are not as balanced. Like, I don't think anyone's going to be like, hey, I need to bring my Eric Bloodaxe and Benkei into the latest battle, but a lot of units have been getting buffs, and it's helped a lot of units. Finally, the last thing I want to talk about with the FGO community is the FGO community kind of sucks a lot sometimes. Like, I think that the thing that always comes to mind for me is that I think it was a Guda 6 where we got 2 new units, Izumo no Okuni and Sakamoto Ryoma. And the first banner unit was Okuni, and I remember that at least over here, I'm not sure about the Japanese reaction, but the English community's reaction was like pure hatred and anger at Okuni because they wanted Takasugi and Okuni came first. I understand wanting more dudes in the game because, yeah, I liked a lot of the dudes that they've been adding recently. I liked Oberon a lot, I liked Tomatomo. I like Moriarty. But that sucks. You guys suck. Why are you hating Okuni for no reason? She's a cool character. You guys are just being mean. I think Honkai Impact actually has some really cool, unique playstyles in their game, which is the opposite of what Genshin deals with. I think that's a really big bonus for the game. But let's talk about some other stuff besides that, since I kind of brought it up in Genshin. Let's talk about the rates, even if that seems, you know, a little lazy. This game's rates suck. Oh my god, I actually am unsure if I've had a less like fun, more like unenjoyable time rolling in a game. I started playing the game mainly because of Scylla and Bronya, and it's so annoying to roll for characters because the rates just feel bad. And it's not only that the rates are bad, it's that the game gives you bad rates and expects you to roll for the character, then roll for their weapon, then roll for 3 equipment pieces called stigmatas because you need the set bonus. This is just annoying. I swear, for you to actually keep up with the units, you actually have to pay, which I know, like, maybe I shouldn't really be saying that because all gacha games want you to pay, but this just felt so aggressive about wanting me to pay that it aggravated me. Like, I don't really pay that much when I play Fate Grand Order, and I still get a lot of the 5 stars. I got Draco in the last banner, even though I didn't pay. I didn't get Tiamat, but I got Draco, so that's better than nothing. But in this game, there will be times where I roll the unit, I'm like, I don't need anything else, and then I'm like, nope, apparently I minus 40 DPS just by not having the other stuff. And that is just really annoying, and I think kind of evil. Also, the idea of rolling for costumes just sucks. Why do I have to roll for costumes? All the costumes in, like, Fate are just free. It feels weird that Fate, of all things, spoils me, because Fate should be the one that sucks. All in all, though, I don't only have negative stuff to say about Honkai Impact. I think Elysian Realm is really cool. I also think a post-Honkai Odyssey, I think that mode is just really cool and really fun. I enjoy that a lot. I mean, my outro is literally a clip of me playing it. That game mode is silly but fun. Really fun side modes. Star Rail is incredibly fun, and it's the new gacha on the block. It's as fresh as it can be. While I could talk about the quality of life stuff, again, like I said, I probably will go for something else because everyone is talking about that. Star Rail has an amazing variety in terms of its playstyles, and again, I feel like I'm making it sound like I hate Genshin. I don't. I really like Genshin. Even in terms of personalities, they have a lot of variety. This does worry me a little bit because I think turn-based RPGs as like a format tend to be more rigid, and if they just push out all their unique, crazy stuff now, will there be like less cool units in the future? A character like Silverwolf giving enemies weaknesses, will she like be the only cool character like that, or will they make a new unique way to have something similar? Or will they have something that completely revolutionizes it and is completely different but still fun? Also, I think Simulated Universe, this is again not a hot take really, more of a cold take, but it's probably the single best endgame content in any gacha game in general, I think. Now, I'm sorry if I'm insulting some gacha I've not played. If Dragon Ball has like better endgame content in their gacha game, I apologize. I haven't played it. But out of the gacha games I've played, I'd probably say Star Rail has the best endgame. I really wish that Fate had this level of replayable content, but it doesn't. The last hot take I'd probably give, some characters just feel really boring. I think like some characters are really great, like Sampo, Asta, Qingxue, and Welt. All of them are really fun, and I love those characters. But some other characters just feel like really uninteresting, and I'm talking about their personalities more than their designs. Because someone like Donung, I really like his design. And maybe it's unfair to judge him because his story really isn't complete yet, but he really hasn't done anything of interest, and his personality seems really boring so far, besides the fact that he kind of plays a reasonable enough straight man to our MC and March. And another thing, maybe a bit heretical, but I feel like some of the characters like Sushang just need to get more story. It feels weird to say, but some characters feel very like surface level, and they've done this in Genshin too, but I was really hoping that, or I'm really hoping, I shouldn't say that it, maybe they will fix this. I am really hoping that they are able to expound on most characters. I think a character like Sushang is really cool, and I know she's in Honkai Impact 3rd, but I'd still like to know her version from Star Rail more, and maybe give her a companion quest. I think that goes for the case for almost all of the characters that we've met. I actually would love it if there was a companion quest for most characters in general. I hope we get a lot of them, because they've been great. Finally, the last hot take, or maybe I should say cold take, because this is so obvious, but the best girls in the game are actually Ching Chui, Real Fast, and Serval. Thanks for watching.